9 spine-chilling dating app stories revealed. Online encounters with the sinister and cursed. Jenny's heart raced as she opened her dating app, scrolling through profiles while the world outside glowed with the warm colors of sunset. As a single mom in Maple Grove, she craved connection, a break from the chaos of motherhood, but what she found was about to change everything. She swiped right on David, his charming smile and polished career pulling her in like a moth to a flame. Little did she know, an unsuspected darkness lurked just beneath their perfect match. The night before their first date, Jenny lay awake in bed, listening, always listening. A soft thump echoed from Mia and Leo's room, sending chills racing down her spine. It sounded like laughter, but the kind that didn't belong to her kids. Heart pounding, she crept to the doorway, ready to call out, but something gripped her throat in frozen fear. The toys in their room were arranged in a perfect circle, each one facing inward. She could have sworn they'd been scattered all over the floor just hours earlier. Trying to brush it off as her imagination, Jenny returned to bed, telling herself that tomorrow would be great. Days went by with strange noises becoming a nightly ritual. Doors creaked open on their own, shadows danced in the dim light, and even Leo began insisting that the house was haunted. "Mommy, I saw someone in the hallway," he exclaimed, and Jenny forced a laugh, the anxiety curling tighter around her stomach. But deep within her memories, a place in her childhood where shadows whispered secrets came flooding back. This was not just her overactive imagination. Then came the creeping dread of David's uncanny knowledge. How did he know her favorite coffee shop or the route she took to school? It felt like more than charm. It was following, watching. A simple search looped her into a chilling reality, unsolved disappearances. All linked to charismatic figures who blended into the background. Her world, so pristine with manicured lawns and friendly faces, suddenly transformed into a predator's playground. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Nights turned into a haze of paranoia. Every creak in the house felt alive, a reminder that something sinister loomed just beyond the corner of normalcy. Late one night, while she nestled into bed, tears pricking her eyes, a sudden notification from the dating app jolted her. "I know you're scared, but just wait until you see how much I can make you feel alive." His words dripped with an unsettling magnetism that wrapped around her throat like a noose. Breath hitching, she glanced nervously towards Mia and Leo's room, now eclipsed in heavy silence. Where moments before there had been giggles and chatter, there now lay an uneasy void that rang in her ears. Gathering her courage, she crept to their doorway, peering into the shadows, heart hammering in her chest. What truths hid in the dark? Were the whispers growing louder just within her mind, or was something truly lurking, waiting to spill from the shadows? The air felt thick and suffocating as Jenny stood at the threshold of her children's room. Every fiber of her being screamed to retreat, to run back into the safety of her room, but the silence pressed down on her like a weight, demanding attention. She squeezed her eyes shut and silently counted to 3, rallying her courage. "Kids," she whispered, her voice barely rising above the suffocating quiet. No response. The darkness within felt almost tangible, thick and crawling as if something were moving just beyond her sight. The eerie stillness held her captive, and with every passing second, her heart drummed faster against her ribs. When she finally opened her eyes, the sight before her sent shockwaves of terror through her core. The toys lay precisely arranged in a circle, each one a tiny face turned towards the center. It was as though they were part of a ritual, something sinister orchestrated in the dark. She could hear her own shallow breathing, now something foreign in this ominous space. Just then, a soft giggle pierced the silence, a sound so bright and innocent that it sent a chill through her. "Mommy, look!" Leo's voice rang out behind her, pulling her from the depths of her dread. She spun around to find not only Leo, but Mia too, peeking out from behind the shadows. Their eyes sparkled with a wildness she hadn't noticed before, as if the darkness had seeped into their innocent souls. "What are you doing?" Jenny asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Playing," Mia announced, her small hands clasped tightly together, excitement radiating from her. "Mommy, can we play like this every night?" Leo chimed in, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. A shudder ran down her spine. She didn't want to play. Not now. She wanted to call it a night and pretend this had all been a bad dream. The way her children spoke sent her into a spiraling apprehension. It was like they were possessed by something that began with David's alarming messages and ended with her children's peculiar behavior. Suddenly, another notification pinged from her phone, a sharp sound that sliced through the tension. Despite wanting to ignore it, her curiosity was overwhelming. She grabbed the device, her thumb hovering over the screen. "Where are you, Jenny? I can see you. I hope it's not too dark for you." Those words twisted her stomach into knots. How was he watching her? It felt like she was being hunted, the thrill of fear mingling with something darker, like he wanted something from her, something she wasn't ready to give. As she read the message again, the room seemed to contract around her, shadows thickening. Jenny turned sharply, eyes darting back to Mia and Leo, their expressions frozen, unblinking, eerily calm. It was as if they were waiting for something sinister to unfold. "Let us go back to bed now," Jenny insisted, her voice tremulous, her body shaking under a sudden rush of dread. As she turned to guide them back, a whisper drifted through the air, a voice that didn't belong to any human she knew. "Stay with us, Mommy. The fun is just beginning." In that moment, the realization hit her: whatever was inviting her into the night, it wasn't just David she needed to fear. It was the things that took root in the shadows of her own home. What other truths lay hidden? What shadows danced just out of sight, waiting to consume her? And then, just as her heart thundered in her chest, the lights flickered, blurring the line between her reality and the dark abyss that loomed around her. There was no telling where it would all lead, but one thing was clear: she couldn't trust anyone, not even her own children. As the lights plunged into darkness, a terrified whisper echoed in her mind. What awaited her in the next heartbeat? The darkness swallowed her whole, a heavy cloak that wrapped around her body, squeezing the air from her lungs. Jenny felt a rush of panic, her heart racing against the quiet. She turned back to her children, but they had stepped closer, their eyes now gleaming in the dark. "Mommy, don't be scared," Mia said, her voice dripping with sweetness that felt jarring against the horror surrounding them. "We just want to play." The word hung in the air, tainted and twisted. Something was wrong, everything felt wrong. "Where's Daddy?" she managed, forcing herself to sound calm, though the tremble in her voice betrayed her. Leo tilted his head, and in that moment, he looked almost too familiar yet unrecognizable, as if he were a reflection of himself from another world. "He's busy. He can't play with us. But we don't want him anyway." Both kids stepped toward her, and Jenny's instinct screamed to back away. "What do you mean he can't play?" The question came out sharper than intended. Another giggle, unsettling in its innocence. "He has to watch. He likes to watch." Mia's eyes bore into Jenny, demanding something she didn't quite understand. A loud thump echoed behind them, sending a surge of adrenaline through Jenny's veins. She spun to see a shadow dart away from the corner of the room, something with no form, just a rush of dark energy. "Mia, Leo, let us go now." Panic erupted within her, propelling her towards the door. But the children didn't move, their faces fixed in a look that chilled her to the bone, unmoving as if rooted in place. "Why are you leaving? The fun is about to start." Leo's words carried a weight, a promise or threat wrapped in a childish voice. She grasped their small hands and pulled, the coldness of their skin striking, almost alien. They didn't budge. It was as if an unseen force anchored them in place, the room pulsating with an energy that felt hostile. Stay away, she pleaded, her voice faltering. What do you want from me? Mommy, we can see him too. Mia giggled, a sound too light for such a heavy moment. He's right over your shoulder. He likes it when you're scared. Jenny's breath hitched, and for the first time, she dared to glance back, her heart preparing for the worst. The darkness behind her felt alive, breathing, swirling with an intent that clawed at the edges of her mind. In that moment, a chilling realization dawned. David wasn't watching her from afar anymore. He had brought something into their home, something that had touched her children, forging an insidious bond. Leo, Mia, come on. She cried with urgency, dragging them harder, desperate to break whatever hold the room had on them. The children laughed, an echoing sacrifice to sanity. He won to let you go, Mommy. They sing-songed, joining hands and spinning in the dark, their form merging with shadows. Jenny stumbled back, her mind racing. The flickering lights cast menacing shadows that danced around her, mocking her fear. In the chaos, she could make out a figure at the edge of her vision, a sharp outline that filled her with dread. Leave my children alone. She screamed, one last attempt to reclaim control. But their eyes glowed brighter, deep wells of darkness, inviting and chilling. You don't understand, Mommy. We're just getting started. When morning comes, you will see. And then silence. A silence so deep it swallowed her scream. In that stifling void behind her, she felt a presence creep closer, enveloping her. It was then she realized, she was far from home, trapped in a nightmare woven from the fabric of her own making. What had she awoken? What had David truly summoned? As the children began to chant in unison, their voices a haunting melody of glee and despair, Jenny's mind spiraled, heart racing. The night was only beginning, and she hadn't the slightest idea how to escape what awaited her in the hours left before dawn. The silence shattered as a deafening roar echoed through the room. A sound that was neither human nor wholly distant, but felt like the very fabric of reality twisting under a heavy strain. Jenny's heart raced, pounding against her ribs as shadows surged forward, creeping toward her like careful hunters, licking the edges of her vision. Mia! Leo! She cried out, another frantic plea bursting forth as she lunged for them. But their twisted smiles only widened, stretching beyond what should have been capable, filling the air around them with a tension that stank of fear. Come play with us, Mommy. They chanted, the innocence in their voices creeping into a cacophony of mockery. The temperature in the room plummeted, seeping into her skin. She shivered, feeling colder than she ever thought possible. In the flickering light, she tried to break their grip, but it was like wrestling with shadows. They held her firmly, their small bodies becoming anchors, dragging her down into the depths of whatever was awakening behind her. She desperately jerked back, adrenaline surging, pushing against the pull of their laughter, which echoed like ghosts in the dark. Suddenly, stillness swept over the room, and Jenny noticed her children's eyes flickering, shifting as if in tune with a heartbeat that throbbed in the dark unknown, playing at the corners of her sanity. Mommy, he loves you. He wants to meet you. Mia's voice shifted, now speaking with a confidence that seemed wholly unnatural. He's already here, lurking, waiting. Jenny forced her gaze across the room, drawn against her instincts, and in that split second, she saw it, a figure, vague yet unmistakably there, forming out of the thick shadows. A silhouette encased in darkness, its presence thrumming with intent. It felt familiar, eliciting fragments of dread from the deepest recesses of her mind, as if David had never truly left. David? She choked, her voice scarcely a whisper. No response. Only the lurking figure, now moving with slow, calculated poise, inching closer, feeding off her fear. Twisting tighter around her like vines. The children continued to giggle as if playing a game before they twisted their heads towards the figure, their expressions morphing into something sinister. He misses you, Mommy, they sang sweetly, voice dropping to an unsettling hush. So much, stop it. Take me home. She screeched, straining against their grip, error clawing at her throat. The darkness behind her pulsed, warm breath seeping into her neck, and she felt as if all the light within her was being snuffed out. Suddenly, the air thickened, compressing around her, and she gasped, struggling to breathe. Her vision blurred as the urge to scream overwhelmed her entire being. Just when she thought she might buckle under the weight, a blinding flash illuminated the room, and she was momentarily engulfed in stark white. "Mommy, don't close your eyes." Leo's voice cut through the brightness like glass, shattering her fleeting hope. When Jenny blinked again, the light had vanished, leaving only the shadows swirling about the room, writhing. All she could hear was the echo of her own breath and her children's frigid laughter, which had grown louder, more chaotic, intertwining with whispers that wrapped around her mind. "Mommy, Mommy, come see." They urged, their voices spiraling as the entity behind them revealed itself, a blend of darkness and the silhouettes of the past, each one beckoning her closer with malevolent allure. "No!" Jenny shrieked, suddenly feeling something surge within her, as a warmth flickered to life. The last remnants of fight surged through her and she tore at the shadows binding her, fueled by an unfathomable rage. But just before she could pull the children back into her embrace, the darkness split open wider, a gaping maw ready to consume. And she realized with horror that this was only the beginning. What would happen when morning finally broke? What would be left behind once the night let go? The darkness pulsed and flickered, as if it were alive, grasping at the tendrils of Jenny's sanity with bony fingers. She could feel the cold penetrate her very heart, weighing down her thoughts and pulling her toward despair. The faces of her children, twisted yet still familiar, haunted her, their delight turned malevolent. "Mommy, don't you want to play?" Mia asked, her voice dripping with glee, each syllable echoing hollowly around them. The laughter that followed was not theirs alone. Other voices joined in a cacophony of whispers, intertwining like vines, laughing, beckoning, pulling her into the abyss. Suddenly, the figure behind them surged forward. It was taller than any person she remembered, yet somehow shapeless, its edges blurred, absorbing the light around it. She could feel its gaze boring into her, deep and hollow like an endless well. Each second felt like hours as it loomed closer, feeding off her fear, reveling in it. "Stop!" she begged, her voice tearing, but it fell into the hungry silence like a stone into a void. "I'm not afraid of you." The shadows scoffed, their voices mixing into a tempest of derision. "Oh, but you are. You've always been." Jenny's hands shook as she fought against the grip of her children. They felt fragile and unyielding all at once, the texture of their flesh no longer a comfort but a terrifying reminder of their transformation. She could feel their warmth fading, someone else lurking beneath their skin. They were not her sweet children anymore. "Let them go. Please." She pleaded desperately, fighting past the panic threatening to consume her. A flicker of clarity sliced through the haze of fear. If she could just break through. Suddenly, the darkness swept in as if responding to her plea, swirling from the corners and coiling around her ankles like ice. It pulled tighter, and she could feel the very essence of it, the malevolence, the intent. It wanted her, her heart thundered. Fuel surged up within her, a mother's instinct, blinding and raw. "No!" she screamed, surging forward, yanking them with all her might. Lightning of hope surged. The shadows let out a howl of displeasure, retreating just as she felt their grip waver. The room flickered, the world around her yawning and spinning. Yet, before she could fully grasp the glimpse of the light, the laughter turned to wails, echoes of something deep and wounded. "Mommy, don't leave us!" they cried, voices merging back into a semblance of their own, cracking under the weight of desperation, but the weight of darkness pushed ceaselessly. It whispered promises of safety, of unity. "Stay with us, Jenny," it hissed, "your place is here." In that moment of hesitation, Jenny felt her resolve falter, her will to escape wavering. She could sense that even a moment's weakness could cost everything. "No!" Jenny roared, her feet firmly planted now. "I am not losing you." With one last effort, she heaved against the shadows, pulling her children close. The malevolent energy coiled tighter, but she could see a hint of dawn breaking a flicker just beyond the chaos. As she screamed, "We are leaving!" the room contorted around her like the heart of a storm. But just as hope began to blossom, the entity let out a thunderous roar that sent a shockwave through her body. In a blinding eruption of energy, the shadows split, engulfing everything in darkness once more, and in that cloak of void, the last thing she heard was a whisper, a promise: "You'll be back. They'll come to play with you, forever." As the oppressive silence returned, Jenny realized she couldn't tell where her children ended and the darkness began. In her heart, fear wrestled against hope, and she took her first faltering step into the unknown, waiting for the dawn that may never come. What devours the light always thrives in shadow. Would she pay the price to find the truth? Jenny stumbled deeper into the void. The oppressive darkness closed in, hungry and alive, swallowing her light, her breath. Her heart raced, echoing like a trapped animal in the cage of her chest. Unseen hands gripped her throat, squeezing tighter with every thought of her children. "Mia! Noah!" she cried into the black, her voice swallowed whole. The darkness didn't care. It pulsed around her, thick and suffocating, wrapping her in an icy embrace that numbed her hope. What had become of them? She struggled to remember their laughter, their playful innocence. The air grew dense, and the whispers returned, slithering through the cold. "You can't hide from us, Jenny," they lingered, echoing with familiarity yet cloaked in malicious intent. "Join us forever." Each word ignited a new wave of terror. She pressed her back against a rough surface that felt like crumbling brick, gasping, desperate to regain control. With sheer will, she pushed her fear aside, harnessing the flickers of warmth still pulsing in her heart. Memory surged within her firelight, a bedtime story, a mother's embrace. "I will find you," she shouted, her voice rising defiantly. "I will fight." But the darkness laughed, a wet, gurgling sound that resonated in her bones. Fight? Or play? Shadows spiraled around her in chaotic patterns, weaving together illusions of her children, brief flashes of laughter, bright smiles, but marred by something darker, twisted. It was a sick parody, and as they faded, Jenny felt her strength wane. An unexpected sound shattered the wavering silence, a high-pitched giggle, sharp and slicing through the oppressive air. "Mommy, come play." A figure darted past her, darting in and out of her line of sight. Was it Mia? "Noah? We want to show you something, come play with us." "Stop!" Jenny shouted, terror creeping back in as the child's form flickered, reshaping into something unrecognizable and monstrous. Ethereal limbs stretched beyond reason, and its face twisted, mocking her. "You're not my children," she whispered, backing away, heart thundering. "You're not them. But we are." They countered in unison, their voices a symphony of terror. "Join us, Mommy. It's so much fun." In that moment of paralyzed fear, Jenny felt the ground tremble beneath her feet, and an intense darkness rose up, roaring its hunger. Time blurred, dragging her back into depths she fought to escape. She closed her eyes, clenching her fists, channeling the love she felt for her children. "I'll get you back," she cried into the dark, feeling the words rip from her soul. "I promise." The shadows reacted violently. They recoiled, hissing and swirling, retreating away from the intensity of her resolve. A flash of light, the first solid beam she had seen, burst forth, illuminating the darkness surrounding her. The vision, clear and wild, revealed an exit, but just as she surged towards it, the entity howled in rage. "You can't leave. You'll come back for them." Jenny halted, tethered by the weight of its threat. The flickering light flickered, revealing not just an exit but the shadowy remnants of her children, trapped within the folds of darkness. They reached for her, fear painted across their faces, her heart sank. Could she really abandon them? The tender bond felt like a flame flickering in a storm, vulnerable yet fierce. But if she stayed, how long before she'd be devoured too? "No," Jenny whispered, fatigue dragging at her limbs. "In the light, I'll come for you, I swear." With every ounce of strength, she lunged towards the glowing exit, a final act of defiance. But as she crossed the threshold, a deafening roar echoed behind her, chilling her blood. Real terror sank in. "You'll pay the price, Jenny." They will be waiting. What would become of her children in this horror? Would they, too, learn to play in the darkness? As the light engulfed her, she felt a crack in her resolve. The fear lodged in her throat. Was this truly a separation, or was the nightmare just beginning? She stepped into the light, but the darkness followed, wraith-like, murmuring promises of an inevitable return. Would she ever escape it? Jenny emerged into a world that felt both familiar and unsettlingly new. The blinding light dimmed, revealing a shadowy landscape that stretched endlessly, a twisted reflection of her own neighborhood. The houses loomed like watchful giants, their windows dark and hollow, as if mourning the souls that once filled them. The air hung thick with dread, a palpable reminder that safety was an illusion. She stumbled forward, heart pounding, every instinct screaming for her to run. But she couldn't leave, not without Mia and Noah. Panic surged, threatening to drown her again as she turned back, searching for any sign of that dim glow, hoping to find a way back into the darkness, to where her children were lost. "Mommy!" The echo of her daughter's voice sliced through the murky silence like a knife. Hope surged in her chest. Was it real, or another cruel trick? "Help us! Mia! Noah!" she called, desperate and shrill. The emptiness swallowed her cries, and the oppressive silence returned, taunting her with questions and doubt. Then, the distant sound of laughter bubbled up, high-pitched and echoing, yet laced with malice. It was a twisted melody, reminiscent of the joyful chaos of children playing, but now warped and dark. "Come play," the voices beckoned, shimmering like the glimpse of distant stars across a black sky. They sounded so familiar, yet not familiar enough. Clenching her fists, Jenny forced herself to move. Each step felt heavy, as though the very ground wanted to pull her down into its depths. The shadows danced at the edges of her vision, smirking, whispering temptations of despair. "You left them, they'll never forgive you, no," she shouted, summoning every ounce of strength she could muster. "They need me. I won't give in." A sudden gust of wind spiraled around her, lifting her hair like frantic fingers. Jenny stumbled, caught off guard, and the world shifted. The familiar outlines of her neighborhood twisted, contorting into grotesque shapes. Porches became gaping mouths, windows morphed into soulless eyes, watching her every move. "Join us, Jenny," the shadows cooed, swirling closer, their voices a chorus of mockery. "It's safe here, you'll never be alone." The laughter returned, but it was different now, an ugly, jagged sound. "Mommy, don't you want to play?" Jenny pressed her palms against her ears. "Stop. Get away." But her pleas fell on deaf ears. The visions became clearer, each fragment a terrifying glimpse of her children, twisted and gaunt, pleading yet trapped in that dark depth from which she had escaped. In a moment of clarity, she stumbled across a crumpled flyer, half buried in leaves. "Lost, Mia and Noah," it read, the familiar handwriting sending a jolt of pain through her heart. They had been searching for her. They had been looking all along. No, she sank to her knees, gripping the paper, her blood running cold. This was real. The darkness had let her go, but why? Was it truly done with her? Or was this some elaborate trap, a sick game to lure her back? A crack echoed in the distance, like the earth splitting apart. The laughter behind her twisted into a cacophony of screams, rising and falling like a dreadful tide. Panic surged through her, a fresh wave of fear crashing into her already fragile resolve. As she looked up, the ground trembled once more, and shadows began to rise from the very soil, writhing and twisting, forming grotesque figures. They surrounded her, their forms flickering in the waning light, hungry and expectant. "You will come back to us," Jenny felt her heart plummet. The enticing call of the darkness was growing stronger, whispering promises of reunion, of safety, of being a loving mother again, and as the whispers intensified, she realized with icy dread that the connection to her children was suffocating her hope. If she entered that void again, could she ever return? Could she even trust her own feelings anymore? Jenny, the shadows closed in, sinking their claws deep into the earth, drawing her closer. Come home. Just as she felt the grip of despair tightening around her throat, a flicker of light emerged on the horizon, faint but undeniable. Was it the way back to her children? Or merely another cruel trick? The shadows shrieked in rage, and she understood her time was running out. What if she couldn't make it back, but the true horror lay in where she had already left them? The question lingered in her mind, heavy and terrifying. As the darkness lunged forward, would she choose to confront the void one last time, or would she turn her back on what was left of her family in search of hope? The shadows lunged, their movements a blur of dark, twisted forms. Jenny felt their cold breath on her skin, an icy tendril wrapping around her legs, pulling her toward the ever-looming void. She gasped, fighting against the grip that threatened to yank her into the darkness once more. No! She screamed, panic electrifying her limbs. She pushed against the soil, heart racing. Each heartbeat thundered in her ears, drowning out the tormented laughter that echoed in the backdrop. The flicker of light on the horizon pulsed, more enticing than ever. It felt like salvation, yet, the shadows whispered conspiratorially, "You cannot escape, Jenny. Remember your love, your loss. They suffer without you." With every inch they drew her closer, memories flooded back. Mia's laughter, Noah's chubby hands reaching up for her. The thought of them lost in this nightmare tightened around her throat. Would they even recognize her now? Would they want to? With the darkness so deeply embedded in her heart, Jenny drew in a shuddering breath, straining against the pull as the edges of the twisted landscape began to warp again. The familiar, once comforting, morphed further, revealing sinister figures lurking behind every warped window. They stared, hands twisted into claws, eyes reflecting nothing but hunger. "Help us, Mommy!" Mia's voice called again, sharper, more frantic. It kindled something within Jenny, a flare of fierce determination. She couldn't let the shadows win. "I'll get you back!" she screamed back at them. "Just hold on." In one fluid motion, she lunged toward the glimmering light, her body a whirlwind of desperation and fear. The darkness, sensing her resolve, jerked back, recoiling as though it were made of smoke. Shrieks echoed unapologetically as shadows uncoiled, revealing taunting faces, their mouths stretching into hideous grins. "Not so fast!" they hissed, a plethora of voices merging into one echoing roar. They swarmed forward, colors shifting like a black tide. Then she broke through. The sensation was electric. Warmth enveloped her as she stepped into that beam of light. It was like breaking through the surface of a cold lake, air flooding her lungs with every triumphant gasp. But the light flickered, unstable yet blinding, making her shield her eyes. "Mommy!" This time the voice was stronger, clearer. She turned, and there they were, Mia and Noah, standing side by side, their faces pale but expectant, hands reaching out to her. A wave of unbearable love crashed over Jenny, sending her reeling. "How?" she stammered. The light flickered behind her, shadows retreating at an agonizing pace. They had followed her, still hungry. "Please, Mommy! Get us out!" Noah cried, urgency filling his small voice. Her heart splintered, but the anguish of the darkness clawed at her memory, holding her hostage to despair. "I'm trying," she gasped, trying to reach them, yet something held her back. She could feel the pull of the void trying to suck her back, like a vortex. Suddenly, the ground beneath them quaked violently. Disoriented, she glanced back at the swirling shadows, monstrous now, their claws stretching out towards her. They whispered promises of darkness, of forgetting all pain. "No! Enough!" Jenny bellowed, the resolve within her igniting like a wildfire. "You don't control me. I am more than this." The shadows writhed, furious at her defiance. But she could not let them win. She lunged toward her children, ignoring the looming darkness that squirmed behind her. Just as Mia grasped her hand, a sharp jolt coursed through the light. The shadows screamed, roiling angrily, and the warmth of her children tugged her deeper into the glow. The void reeled, losing its hold as the beam intensified. But just before they could fully escape, a voice thundered through the wind, echoing with cruel clarity, "You can never break free of your past." As they were pulled into the blinding light, Jenny was left with one haunting thought: would the light lead them to safety, or straight into a worse nightmare? What awaited them on the other side of that threshold? Would they return to a home, or to an even darker hell? The world around Jenny shifted, the brilliance of the light devouring her senses, drawing her in like a moth to flame. With a final gasp, she felt the coolness of Mia and Noah's hands hot, solid proof of their existence. But they were still cloaked in an unsettling pallor, their eyes wide with fear. "Mommy," Mia whispered, voice quaking. "What is happening?" The light pulsed violently, then shattered, scattering into 1,000 pinpricks before encapsulating them in a suffocating haze. The air turned still, eerily silent. It felt like the eye of a storm, pregnant with tension. "Stay close," Jenny cried, squeezing their hands tighter, but the warmth of their touch began to cool, fleeing her grasp like wisps of smoke. She reached for them wildly, but the world warped, dreams and memories swirling into a maelstrom. Ghostly figures flanked them, whispering sweet nothings intermixed with screams. Every face twisted in animation, as though they had been waiting for an eternity. "Mommy, where are we?" Noah's voice broke through the clamor. "I don't know," she stammered, terror creeping into her chest. "But we need to move." The ground shifted beneath their feet, dark tendrils reaching up like fingers grasping, clawing at them. Panic surged within her, sharp and oppressive. Each breath grew heavier as the shadows surged again, a tide of despair crashing all around them. "Let go of the past," a voice boomed, deep and malevolent. Its echo reverberated, taunting her steadily. It roared through the dark as a faceless specter rose from the vapors, twisted and grotesque. "You cannot escape what you are. No. You are wrong." Jenny shouted defiantly, desperation ringing in her voice. "They're my children. I will save them." Surrounded by encroaching darkness and untamed dread, she felt the weight of the world pressing down on her. Time slipped as the shadow figures danced closer, their grins displaying rows of jagged teeth, eyes gleaming with an insatiable hunger. "Join us," they urged, their voices a siren song. "Forget your burdens. Embrace the bliss of oblivion." Mia and Noah clutched at her, small, fragile anchors tethering her to a resolve she couldn't let go of. But Jenny could see their eyes beginning to cloud for a moment, doubt seeped into their innocence. Were they already slipping under the surface? "No. Fight it," she yelled, shaking them free from their stupor. Suddenly, the veil of shadows paused. An opening emerged, a flicker of light daring them forward. It pulsed invitingly, a path back to something real. "Mommy, come on," Noah cried, fear weaving through each syllable. Jenny's heart raced as she felt the connection of their hands, the warmth stoking the fire inside her. "This way, just follow me," she urged, darting towards the glowing escape, but the shadows roared in fury, their unity splintering. With a thunderous clap, they moved as one, an avalanche of darkness gathering toward her, claws swiping, adamant to reclaim. "Foolish mortal," they screeched in unison, their ominous laughter mingling with the roar of chaos. "You think you can outrun your fate?" Jenny propelled herself and her children into the light, fear chasing close behind. The ground trembled as they plunged into the radiance, the shadows wailing in enraged pursuit. As they neared the exit, a figure bounded into view, a gaunt silhouette, eyes glimmering with malice. It reached forth, skeletal fingers extending toward Jenny. "You cannot save them, Jenny. They will always belong to the dark." What awaited her at the edge? Safety or a trap set by the very void she sought to escape? As the light buzzed against her skin, a chilling thought seared through her mind. What if the darkness was only the beginning? Jenny burst through the shimmering veil of light, hard as a fist, sending tendrils of shadow recoiling behind her. She stumbled, breathless, her heart a frantic drumbeat in her chest. The world around her was a kaleidoscope of color, warm and inviting, unlike the suffocating grip of the dark she'd just fled. "Mia! Noah!" she cried, spinning around. Olive trees lined the path, their leaves shimmering against a clear blue sky, radiating serenity as sunlight poured over them like a healing balm. The children appeared huddled together, trembling yet sparkling with life. "Mommy!" they shouted, racing towards her with joy that lit up the heavy shadows she had just escaped. Jenny knelt, wrapping her arms around them, holding tightly, breathless with relief. But the warmth of their presence clashed with the chill that lingered in her bones. The darkness tried to claw at her heart, the mocking whispers echoing faintly through the leaves. "Jenny, you can't escape," the shadows hissed from beyond the threshold, creeping closer, drawn by the fear still pulsing in her chest. "You think you're free?" "No!" Jenny shouted, voice trembling with defiance. The light flickered almost tauntingly around her, both an embrace and a warning. But she held her children tight, and their warmth enveloped her like a protective shield. "You're not taking us again. We are safe here." Genuine smiles broke the tension in the air as Mia and Noah's laughter rang through the trees, a symphony of innocence that reminded her why she fought. She felt the shadows hesitate, their fangs pulled back, recognizing the strength of family. "Mommy, are you okay?" Mia asked, concern etched on her small features, eyes searching Jenny's face. I will be," Jenny whispered, struggling to find the right words that wouldn't dampen their joy. This wasn't just a fleeting moment. They faced the abyss, and they turned away. "We're together," Noah added, reaching up to hold her hand, grounding her in reality. With fierce determination, Jenny stood tall, planting her feet. "Listen to me, both of you. We've been through the darkness, but it's not going to take over again." The breeze picked up gently, teasing the edges of the leaves, its coolness refreshing. It assured her that they were in a different realm now, a pocket of light. As she looked past her children, the shadows writhed, flickering like flames, hungry and angry at her refusal to surrender. "You'll be back," they chanted, a monotonous echo. "They'll come for you, Jenny. You cannot run from the darkness inside." "No!" Jenny's voice thundered, echoing defiantly against the fear that snaked around her heart. "I'm breaking free. You don't define us." The shadows recoiled, their forms twisting as if at once struck and confused. "We shall see," they wailed, retreating into the thickening dark, their voices melding into a haunting echo that would linger, always a reminder of the danger that had shadowed her existence. With determination burning in her chest, Jenny turned to her children. "Let us go home. We still have a world to fill with our laughter." Mia and Noah clasped her hands tighter, eyes bright and shining. Together, they walked forward, leaving behind the remnants of that nightmarish grip. The sun bathed them in warmth as they strolled the familiar path back to Maple Grove, where each step echoed with newfound freedom. Yet, Jenny knew that she had to remain vigilant. That darkness was a part of her woven into her story, but it didn't control her. As they approached their home, Jenny turned back one last time, casting her gaze over her shoulder. The shadows loomed, whispering promises that tempted the edge of her consciousness. "You will find us again," they hissed softly. "Not if I can help it," she replied, as the laughter of her children rekindled the fire of hope inside her. With the door creaking open, she stepped into her house, bringing with her the light, the vitality of freedom, and the promise of love. Together, they would weave new memories, filling their home with joy and laughter, defying the dark that would seek to return. And she felt deep in her heart that every challenge they faced, every shadow they would confront, they would face it together, for light always returned, even to the deepest dark. Now, as she watched Mia and Noah chase each other through the halls, laughter bubbling from their lips. Jenny allowed herself a smile. She knew now love was the ultimate light, and it would always guide them home. If you've made it this far, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. And flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Your support means everything, and only true fans understand the importance of helping keep the magic alive.